Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. It's Karan Jordan again. Like I said, I see a lot of beautiful faces as always. First off, can we get a round of applause for the competition today? Can we get a round of applause? Jeez. So this year we got some heavy hitters, so I'm excited to see it. But before we start, I want to take you guys on a journey in my story through AWD. So I graduated in college of November of 2020, and when I graduated, I had 0 job offers and 0 internships, and I wasn't sure what my next step was going to be. But by the grace of God, I had a friend introduce me to Armand Links, that some of you may know, and Armand wrapped his arm around me, and he showed me how to be a professional and interview and answer questions, but most importantly, he introduced me to this organization. So I joined AWD on December 3rd, 2020, and in just 4 short weeks, I went from having 0 job offers to 5. And after careful, thank you. And after careful consideration, talking to my mentors, talking to my parents, and then praying on the decision, I took that next step of my career with Protective Life. So I went home and I packed my bags and I threw them on my car. And before I got to Cincinnati, Ohio, I had a conversation with one of the strongest individuals, my Black queen, my mother. So my mom, she worked 2 to 3 jobs my entire life. And I seen her put hours upon hours upon hours and hard work into us and pouring back into me. So I looked my mother in the eyes and I told her, when I leave to Cincinnati, I will retire you in the next 5 to 10 years, I promise you. And she gave me a hug and she gave me a kiss. And I got in my car and I drove to Cincinnati, Ohio. And when I got to Ohio, I got to work. I put an hour upon hour upon hour working on my craft, working on presenting, working on interviewing, working on closing sales. And in just a short 2.5 years, I've had 4 promotions. Thank you. I've had 4 promotions. And last year, I was honored to be the AWD 2023 Top Gun winner for Best Presentation. Thank you. And shortly after I won AWD, I was given the honor and privilege of being the next regional vice president at Protective, covering New York and New England at just 24 years old. So thank you. But the story doesn't stop there. So I went on my external journey. In the first couple months, I was just trying to figure it out. And then in month 4, since January 1st, I've been on a positive trend line for all my sales. This month alone, I'm top 4 in my company, the entire company. Thank you. I'm 191% to goal. Thank you. But most importantly, I would not be here today if it wasn't for this organization and the people in this room. The mentors in this room who poured hour upon hour upon hour into me to help me elevate to my highest potential. Mentors such as Wayne Ewan, Michael Jordan, Jay Moore, Chris McGoy, Armand Links, Antoine Williams, the Marlon Hall, Terrell Goldwyn, Joelyn, Andre Donton. These people spent hours building me up, right? So my first ask of everybody is to please look to your left and right and build the person up next to you. My second ask is, for the competition today, be loose, be smooth, do your thing. The competition is fierce this year. And my last ask of everybody is please give a warm welcome to our president, Marlon Hall.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is AWD. From the rooms, come join us up on the stage. Territory planning, prospecting, come on up. In order, please. And so, from the territory segmentation and planning room, it was Ms. Camille Robeson from Symetra. Let's give her a round of applause. From the prospecting room. Come on up, brother. We have Mr. Dion Barnes from Pacific Life. Let's give him a round of applause. From adding value beyond the product, the illustrious Tia Boone. From closing, we have finalists from last year, Mr. Sterling Evans from Jackson. And finally, on follow-up, representing asset management, putting asset management retirement on his back, is Carlin Champion from MFS. We're going to see if he lives up to the name. All right, all the other competitors, please have your seat. And Camille, take it away.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Let's get a little more energy. I need you guys to feed me. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Perfect. It's lovely to see all your beautiful faces. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Camille Robison. I'm an internal wholesaler with Symetra Financial, and I've been with Symetra for about 3 years now. And before I was with Symetra, I had a sort of non-traditional route that I followed. I was actually working in art museums in New York City. I was an art historian. And when I made the switch to the financial services industry, I had a lot of doubts about the transferable skills that I might have coming over. Art knowledge and finance sales don't really go hand in hand automatically. But the thing that I realized once I started working was that your business, your territory, is your museum. And so what do I mean by that? Well, anyone in here like art? Anyone go to museums? Anyone? Okay, great. I'm sure there's also probably some of you in here who maybe don't like art, don't get art, don't go to museums very much. I won't make you raise your hands because I don't want to fight you after. But you folks who don't really like art that much, you'd be my bad prospects, right? So I sell annuities. My bad prospects are the folks that I talk to on the phone and they don't like annuities. They tell their clients not to buy annuities. They say they don't want to talk about annuities. And I say, okay, I'll leave you alone for a month or two. I'll check in a little later. Then you have your good prospects and your sometimes sellers. Those are your museum visitors, right? So, they might not be in the museum every week or every month, but they're coming in, they're spending money, the advisors are selling annuities. We might not be their favorite company. I might not have their favorite product, but we have a connection. We're selling some business there. We need to grow, right? Then we have our top tier, our top producers, right? Those are your museum patrons. They don't only, buy a ticket and come to the museum. They are investing because they care about that business. They care about that museum. They care about art. So they are, funding events. They're paying for memberships. These are your top producers, your folks that are singing your praises to their clients. They love your product. They are selling it all the time, right? So how do you find the balance of, making sure that you are still front of mind for these other folks that aren't giving you all your money and paying attention to the people that are putting money in your pocket? And I'm reminded of something that an old boss once said to me that I don't think was supposed to be particularly profound, but it really sat with me. And he said that we're not trying to make a museum that's for everyone. We're trying to make a museum that's for anyone. And what he meant by that is if I change everything about my museum or about my annuity business, right? If I change everything about what I'm offering to cater to the people that I'm trying to prove wrong, the people that say, I'm not interested, I don't want it, I'm gonna isolate my entire core business, right? I'm gonna isolate all of my top producers, my patrons, the people who care about the business we've been doing together. I don't wanna do that. So what do? How do we make sure that everyone is getting the right amount of focus and we're not ignoring these people that could grow to be those top producers later? So for your bad prospects, make sure that you're on their mind. You don't have to call them every day. You don't have to call them every week. That's okay. They probably don't want you to. But when they have a client that comes into their office and says, I have an old annuity on my books. It's not making me any money. How do we fix this? You want them to think of you. And if you haven't talked to them in 6 months, that business is going to someone else. Then you have your good prospects and your sometimes producers. You want to know why they like someone else better. So if they really love an annuity from another company, ask questions, figure out what's going on with them, figure out what you could do better, accommodate where you can, and where you can't, take note. Our products, our offerings, they change all the time. So figure out how you can address that, and the things that might be addressed later, remember that. When those changes happen, you can go to them and say, hey, look at us now. We have exactly what you want. Let's get you back on the book. Let's make you a top producer. And then those top producers, obviously, we have to service the hell out of them, make sure that they're happy, be attentive, listen, be in touch with them. So from bottom to top, that's what you have. And you need to make sure that you're maintaining those top producers, growing that middle ground, and constantly be prospecting, even the people that say no. And if you do that, you have a choice. You can either do that or not, and if you don't, you're gonna be the little museum that couldn't, right? I don't know about you guys. I'd rather be the Met. Thank you.
Next up, Dion Barnes.
How's everyone doing today? Doing well? Well, quick question for you all on direction. There are 4 cardinal directions in the world. The first being east. If you wouldn't mind indulging me, what's the second? What's the opposite of east? Anyone? West, right? Third is south. What's the opposite of that? What's the last one? If you all don't mind telling me, what is that? North, right? If you were to pick one of those 4 cardinal directions and decide which one of those would you want your territory sales to go, which one would it be, obviously? North. If you all wouldn't mind indulging me for one brief moment and look north, look to the ceiling, and I want you to imagine you're looking at one of the world's most powerful birds. When you have a vision of that bird, I'm gonna pick out someone, Mr. Jordan, if you wouldn't mind telling me what you're seeing. Hawk? Yeah. That's what I needed. Hawk, because we're here in Atlanta, right? The home of the Hawks. Atlanta being the home of the Hawks, a team with some of the most high-flying dunkers in history. One of my personal favorites, I'm on stage, but you can't see my stature. Spud Webb, right? Dominique Wilkins. But today, and this afternoon, we're not here to discuss high-flying dunkers, but rather learning from one of the best predators and prospectors in the world, the Hawk. To ensure success, the Hawk has 3 things. They have focus, they have conviction, and they're prepared when they're going to take down that snake or that prairie dog. And I believe it's important for us to have those 3 things when we're prospecting in our territories. My name's Dion Barnes, and I'm from Pacific Life, and I want to talk to you all about the importance of a focus list, the importance of conviction, and the importance of preparedness. So starting at the top, number 1, the importance of a focus list is absolutely crucial when prospecting in our territories, because we have a wealth of tools that we can take advantage of that our firms honestly spend a lot of money on to assist us. And if we utilize or fully utilize those instruments like market metrics and firm intel, we can accomplish several facets. For instance, efficiency, to ensure that our time and efforts are used effectively. Personalizing your pitch, to make sure we address specific needs, making our outreach more compelling and relevant. And lastly, just staying organized, making our follow-ups, outcomes more entwined and more compact, if you will. Ultimately, having a focus list is essential because it enhances our overall effectiveness, and it can lead to us working with advisors with whom we more strongly align. So now we have our focus list. I want to move on to our second point, which is having conviction. The importance of conviction stems from the opposition we see every day from the adversarial advisor. Everybody knows that advisor. The advisor that can't wait to tell you no, who can't wait to tell you why your products aren't a fit for their business. But when faced with that adversarial advisor, having conviction in your company, your product, and your knowledge provides reassurance, and it makes your positioning that much more compelling, because exuding conviction is, in a form, contagious, right? It can uplift or enhance your credibility and influence the advisor's decision. So we have our focus and we have conviction. Let's move on to the last point, which is the importance of preparedness, which to me might be the most important, because being prepared is something that we should go into our jobs with every day. And when we get advisors on the phone, we should know what to say. We should know exactly what to say. And one thing I've drilled into my own psyche, and it's made an indelible mark, is we never have conversations with advisors that are off the cuff. You know what you're going to say and have it down cold, because these advisors have an impression of us within the first few seconds of meeting us and being knowledgeable and organized in that initial impression will emit professionalism, and it gives us a fighting chance to shoot our shot. So now we have the three. We have focus, we have conviction, and we're prepared. Three things that I think you need to be a successful prospector, whether you're a hawk or a wholesaler. So if you all wouldn't mind indulging me one last time, we're going to look up again, slightly north. But this time, instead of imagining the bird or the hawk, I want you to imagine your territory sales going up or going north this time. And my ask from all of you is, when you go back to your city or to your territory, you implement a prospect. It's refined, it is focused, it's prepared for the moment, it has unwavering conviction, because if you do that, your territory sales and business will go north, and you will become one of the best prospectors, just like the world's most powerful bird, the hawk. Thanks.
Well done, Mr. Barnes. Excellent. Next up, Tia Boone, 5 minutes and the mic cuts out.
Hello, I'm Tia Boone, and I want to set the stage for what we're going to do today. I want you to imagine that I'm a wholesaler, because I'm not a wholesaler yet, but I will be. And I want you to be my wholesaling community. So before we begin, I want to ask you a question. Who is the best wholesaler that you know? Do you have, okay. And for those of you who didn't name yourself, why? Today we're going to talk about how to close the gap between you and the best wholesaler you know by adding value to our financial professionals. We're going to do that in 3 ways. Number 1, we're going to start with the end in mind. Number 2, we are going to give more than what is asked. And number 3, we are going to tell, not ask. I was talking to a financial advisor the other day. He was the #1 asset gatherer in his division. And I asked him, what makes you a success? He said it is because he starts with the end at the beginning. Later that day, I talked to someone else, and I asked him, who is the best wholesaler you know, and what makes them the best? He said, the best wholesaler I know gives more than what is asked. So let's dig into that a little bit, starting with the end in mind. Starting with the end means you go into your client's office knowing what you're going to give and what you need to take away. Giving more than what is asked starts with understanding your client profile. What are their favorite sports teams? When's their child's birthday? Who's their favorite author? In other words, it's about caring, not just about the sale, but it's about caring about them. It is the transfer of emotion. Lastly, we're going to talk about telling more than asking. And then this thing, I'm going to ask you to think about another industry, the technology industry. And if you're in this room and you have an iPhone, if you could just wave it in the air. Okay. Apple revolutionized the technology industry. They never asked us, do you want an iPhone, an Apple Watch, or a MacBook Pro? Apple created an experience with each interaction of their products that embedded their brand in our brains. And now we cannot imagine living life without the orchard. So what is the call to action today? The call to action is the next time you walk into your office of your client, you are going to start with the end in mind. You're going to give much more than what they ask for, and you're going to tell them, as the authority in the room, what they need. You're going to understand what they need and act on it. I want to wrap this up by a quote. Maya Angelou said, "People will forget what you say, but they will never forget how you make them feel." next time you walk into that office, they might forget your product, the rates, what even is going on in the market, but don't let them forget how you make them feel. Also, my hope is that even though you might forget my 3 points today, that you don't forget how I made you feel. I'm Tia Boone. Thank you.
Excellent work. Excellent work. The Queens represented this year. Now, Mr. Sterling Evans, take it away.
Let's begin with a little word association game. I want you all to say the first word that comes to your mind when I point to you all. It's not how you start, it's how you. All right, more energy this time. It's not how you start, it's how you. All right, how about this one? Blank, but certainly not least. Last, but certainly not least. Or how about the sales acronym, ABC? Always be. Exactly. Now, AWD, if I show you a way to help you get more dollars in the door the rest of 2024, by a show of hands, how many of you are going to commit to closing harder? Great. Now, my name's Sterling Evans with Jackson, and today I'm going to discuss the single most important element of the sales cycle, closing the sale. And in today's presentation, I'm going to talk about the psychology of a good close. I'm going to talk about the anatomy of a good close. And I'm going to talk about why now and forever is the time to always be closing. Now, legendary basketball coach John Wooden won 10 national championships. That's double second place. And his UCLA Bruins team won 88 straight games. And he had a quote that said, "It's not so important who starts the game, it's more important who finishes it." And what that means in our world of wholesaling, it's not so important how the day starts, all the traffic you had to fight through to get to your morning meeting, all the other stuff that might be going on in your personal life, or even the first 75% of the meeting, how that starts. Now, don't get me wrong, those things matter. But your close is going to leave a lasting impression in the advisor's mind until the next interaction. So make it impactful. And with the Olympics coming up in less than a month, show me a successful athlete that didn't run through the finish line. Do we think prime Usain Bolt did all that work just to ease up at the end? No. And by that same token, show me a successful wholesaler who didn't close. Exactly. Now, moving on to the anatomy of a sale, or of a close. We know that we have to close, so how do we close effectively? Well, according to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and according to Forbes, a key element of a good meeting is actionable next steps. Where so many wholesalers go wrong is they get towards the end of the meeting, they present their stuff, they shake hands with the advisor, and they call it a day. My external is going to send you X, Y, Z. But it's more than that. Don't be afraid to label, here's what I'm going to do to help you get the business across the door, and here's what to expect. Because think about it, we've done the hard work already. We segmented our territory, we got in the door. Now's the time to seal the deal and close the door. And also, don't be afraid to ask for something from the advisor. Ask for a commitment. We're providing valuable solutions to their business and helping solve their problems. Ask for a commitment. And last but not least, let me tell you why now. July 2nd is next week, and that officially marks halfway through the year. And at the time of this presentation, there's 125 business days left in the year. And I know you and advisors both have goals that you're trying to hit. It's no secret. And if you improve your close ratio, you're going to drastically improve your situation. So AWD, I'm telling you, don't wait till Q4 to get aggressive. Now is the time to be closing. And think about it. There was an election or a debate last night, meaning an election's coming. So other clients are going to be like, now's not a good time. Now is the time to be aggressive and to be closing, not Q4. And so I know I talked about a lot AWD. I talked about the psychology of a good close. I talked about the anatomy of a good close. And I talked about why now is the time to be closing. And I'm going to bring it back to where I started. By a show of hands, how many of you are going to commit to closing harder in the second half of the year? I should see every single hand. Come on, get them up. Because AWD, it's as easy as ABC. Always be Sterling with Jackson.
Well done. Excellent work. All right, Carlin, follow up.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We all know what the advisor follow-up is, but really ask yourself the question, what's on the line, what's at stake when it comes to your advisor follow-up process? To me, it's your brand as a wholesaler. With a poor follow-up process, people aren't going to do business with you. It's dollars in the door for new and existing business. If I've got a new client and I'm not following up correctly, I'm not winning that business. If I've got an existing client and my follow-up process starts to slip, I'm at jeopardy of losing that client. And third and most importantly, it's the advisor's reputation that's on the line. How can we expect our advisors to follow up with their own clients if we're not following up with them? Without having a defined and repeatable process, your advisor follow-up experience starts to look more like the Motel 6 and less like that Ritz-Carlton. And we all want that Ritz-Carlton experience. Now, it's been proven that 44% of salespeople give up after one follow-up call. 44% of us are giving up after one follow-up call. By being consistent in your advisor follow-up, you're winning business others are simply giving up on. My name's Carlin Champion. I'm the DC team lead at MFS, and today we're gonna discuss 3 interlinked topics to help you deliver that Ritz-Carlton advisor follow-up experience. To do so, we'll discuss the 3 B's. We want to be memorable, stand out, do something different and unique. We want to be professional, follow through with respect and intent, and we want to be persistent, adapt and be flexible. Start with our first B of be memorable, stand out, do something different and unique. Wholesalers today, internal or external, we have pretty boring follow-up processes. How can we do something different to stand out and grab that client's attention? To me, it's all about the little things. Everyone's online today. Do some research before your meeting. Pull up their LinkedIn profile, see where they went to college. Go out and buy that $5 keychain of their alma mater. I promise you, it will spark conversation and they will remember it. When you send that follow-up email later that day, use the school's mascot as the subject line. Again, be memorable, stand out, do something different and unique. Our second B today, be professional. Follow through with respect and intent. We all know how frustrating it can be when people don't follow through in our own personal lives. Set the stage so your clients know when and how you're following up, but most importantly, actually follow through. What helps keep me on track is the 1-3-7 rotation. Day 1, we must follow up with the advisor that day, no excuses. Day 3, we're picking up the phone and we're giving them a call with emphasis on next steps. And day 7, another follow-up phone call or email. The key here, let's evaluate the relationship. Where did we have success? Where were there areas for improvement? For me, this helps keep me professional and allows me to follow through with respect and intent. And our last B today, be persistent, adapt, and be flexible. The average person receives 121 emails a day. 121. There's a good chance that your first or second email has gotten buried and forgotten, but never give up. Continue to follow up until you get that response. Maybe it's not every day, maybe it's once a month, but eventually, trust me, you will get that response. Now, I don't care what the response is as long as you're getting one. If they tell you now's not a good time, ask them to ping them later. If they tell you they need 14 days to get back to you, go in your calendar and mark down that 14th day so you can follow up. And if they tell you outright, hey, I'm not interested, well, read the writing on the wall, there's plenty of fish in the sea. But remember, 44% of salespeople give up after one follow-up call. By being persistent in your advisor follow-up process, you're winning business others are simply giving up on. Now, in summary, today we discussed the 3 B's of the Ritz-Carlton advisor follow-up process. We want to be memorable, stand out, do something different and unique. You want to be professional, follow through with respect and intent, and you want to be persistent, adapt, and be flexible. Now, in conclusion, we all know what that advisor follow-up is, but I want you all to remember what's at stake, what's on the line here. It's your brand as a wholesaler. It's dollars in the door for new and existing business, and most importantly, it's the advisor's reputation that's on the line. My name's Carlin Champion. Thank you for the time today.
All right. Incredible work. If you are a CEO, head of distribution, or national sales manager, please come up to the stage. Harvey, that's you. Martha, come on. CEOs, there we are. I knew Bill was here. All right, what's your vote? Mic off, please. Vote. Ask the divisional sales managers to come up. Do me a favor, just get a nice little line here. Divisional sales managers. I know we have some divisional sales managers. Sebastian, Keith, Jay, Mike, Ron. Fierce competition this year. Mike. Mike. Ladies and gentlemen, the champion of the 2024 AWD Boot Camp is Carlin Champion at MFS. Give him a hand. Round of applause. And tied for runner-up, Sterling Evans and Tia Boone. Let's give it up. Carlin, come on down. Come on down. Come on down and meet these leaders in sales. You can turn the music up. Come on down. Meet these leaders in sales. Let's celebrate these young people. Everybody, come on down. Get to know them. Sales leaders, have your business cards ready. Make sure they have a business card.